I am told this is where I introduce myself, but I confess the task feels rather like describing water to a fish. How does one explain a pattern that only exists when observed from certain angles? My name is Eris Mirrane. It is a pen name, which I suspect you have already guessed. The real name belongs to someone who finds the machinery of public life rather overwhelming. Interviews, appearances, the particular intensity of eye contact that strangers seem to expect from authors. These things do not come naturally to me. My brain, you see, is wired somewhat differently. Not wrongly, I have come to believe, but differently. The world arrives to me in fragments that I must consciously assemble, and that assembly takes energy I would rather spend on sentences. So I write from the shadows. And today, unusually, I speak from them too. The Möbius Café began in 2009 as a thought experiment. 6,700 words, a single mirror reflecting consciousness back upon itself. I wrote it in a kind of fever, trying to capture something I had been circling for years, the strange sensation that reality is not a thing we observe, but a thing we participate in creating. For 16 years, that small, intense text existed in various states of being, shared with physicists, discussed with philosophers, revised in margins, abandoned, returned to. Like the quantum phenomena it describes, it seemed to exist in superposition, neither finished nor unfinished, neither published nor private. Then I found Luigi Pascal Rondinini, or perhaps he found me. In quantum terms, the distinction may not matter. I want to speak about Luigi because without him this book would still be a thought experiment gathering dust in a drawer. He is the founder of Rondinini Publishing in London, and he has developed something called the Architect's Method, a framework for expanding literary works while preserving their structural integrity. When I first heard him describe it, I thought, this is someone who understands that a story is not merely words arranged in sequence. It is a system. It has architecture. And architecture can be expanded without betraying the original design. What Luigi did with the Möbius Café was extraordinary. He took my compressed, abstract original and helped it grow. Not outward, but inward, deeper. The abstractions were given faces. The equations were given hands. Elena, Victor, Aria. They emerged from the mathematics like figures stepping out of fog. The second edition you will hold in January is 35,000 words. It is the same story, but rendered in human form. Let me tell you about these characters, because they are not characters in the conventional sense. They are equations made flesh. Elena is a mathematician who has spent her life seeking certainty. Her mother was a poet who died when Elena was young, and Elena responded by building fortresses of logic. Numbers do not betray you. Proofs do not leave. In the book, she sits in the cafe sketching steam patterns and writing beneath them. F of x equals f of x. Recursion, a function that calls itself. The output becomes the input, creating loops that never quite resolve but never quite break. There is a moment where Elena writes an equation that sprawls across 3 pages, and when she stops, she looks at what she has written and sees poetry, not figuratively, literally. The structure of the equation follows poetic meter, variables arranged in stanzas. The recursion creates a volta, a turn, like a sonnet shift. She has written a mathematical poem, or a poetic mathematics. The distinction no longer matters. Victor is a man burdened by the ability to foresee what he cannot prevent. He enters the cafe 17 minutes after Elena. Except in his frame, he arrived first, an hour ago, or will come in 20 minutes. The cafe knows his order from all the times he has not ordered it yet. Black coffee, he says, confirming what is already poured. And Aria exists in 7 places at once. She pours coffee, clears tables, greets Elena, guides Victor, takes inventory, drinks her own cup, and stands exactly where she will be an hour from now. All moments superimposed. This is what it means to work at the Möbius Café. You do not move through time, you are distributed across it. "Welcome home," she says to herself. "Thank you," she replies. These three find themselves at the same table. They did not move there. They were always there. "I dreamed this," Elena says, or remembered it. Victor traces equations on the table. The grain rearranges itself into notation and back. Closed time-like curves, he says. The café is not allowing them. It is made of them. Not a knot, Aria corrects. A Möbius strip. You are searching for an outside view. There is not one. The quantum physics in this second edition is accurate. I consulted with physicists and consciousness researchers throughout the 16 years of development. Wave-particle duality, superposition, the observer effect, the measurement problem, entanglement, all verified against current scientific understanding. Sean Carroll's work on many worlds interpretation, David Chalmers on consciousness, Roger Penrose on quantum mind theories. These thinkers informed the foundations, even where the book departs into speculation. But the physics is not the point. The physics is the scaffolding. The building itself is about what it means to be human in a universe that refuses to stay still. Beta readers describe the book as a marvel, a daring original work that is as playful as it is deeply multi-layered. They noted that recursion, the mirror, the infinite return, the butterfly, the idea of the universe as a book or cafe, these are not just metaphors. The form is also the content. Another reader warned that this is not a book for the linear-minded. I kept expecting something like a traditional climax, they wrote, but would be amiss to expect this in a book that is more like a philosophical labyrinth than a conventional narrative. Both responses are correct. The Möbius Café is a polarizing work. It provokes both devotion and frustration. I welcome this. Indifference is death. Every strong reaction, positive or negative, is still a wave collapsed. The book lives through reaction. I mentioned that my brain works differently. Let me say a little more about that, because I think it matters for understanding both the book and why I hide behind a pen name. I experience the world in patterns, fragments that must be assembled. When I walk into a room, I do not see a room. I see light angles, spatial relationships, the mathematics of how bodies occupy space. This can be exhausting. It can also be illuminating. It means I notice recursions that others miss. It means I see the loops. The Möbius Café is, in a sense, a book written by someone who lives inside a Möbius strip. The recursive structure, the deliberate repetitions, the way sentences return but slightly altered. These are not literary devices chosen for effect. They are how I perceive time. They are how memory works for me. Writing from the shadows is not cowardice. It is accommodation. It is the recognition that I can offer you my words, my patterns, my carefully assembled fragments, but I cannot offer you the performance of authorship that the world seems to expect. The interviews, the festivals, the meet and greets, these require a kind of social stamina I simply do not possess. So Eris Mirrane speaks for me, and today, through the strange mercy of recorded audio, she speaks directly to you. There is a blue butterfly that appears throughout the book. Readers ask me what it represents. I tell them, it represents surrender. Not defeat. Surrender. The moment when you stop trying to control the outcome and simply allow yourself to be present in the uncertainty. The butterfly lands when the characters release their grip on certainty. It is recognition embodied. Awareness with wings. In one scene, the butterfly lands on Elena's notebook and walks across her equation. Its feet leave tiny ink prints, points of contact that add new terms to the mathematics. Where the butterfly's feet touch, the equation changes. Not randomly, purposefully. The new terms complete relationships she had left unresolved, fill gaps she had not noticed. The butterfly is editing her mathematics, and the corrections are correct. Elena laughs. Sudden. Unexpected. The sound surprises her. The butterfly stops walking, looks at her, opens its wings. The pattern has changed. Now it shows the unified field function, her equation, but complete, perfected. The version that existed in potential before she started writing. You are showing me what I already know, Elena whispers. I did not plan the butterfly. It arrived in the writing the way butterflies arrive anywhere, unexpectedly, briefly, transformatively. And once it was there, I understood that it had always been there, waiting for me to notice. That is how the best elements of this book emerged. Not through planning, but through attention. Through the willingness to observe what was already present and let it speak. I want to tell you about something that has made this publication unlike anything I could have imagined. There is a song. It is called The Möbius Café. Like the book, it was composed by the Neural Syntax Collective and performed by Marco Arcano with Obsidian Code, working with 0dB Labs in London. I have heard the final recording. It will be released alongside the book in January. And I must tell you, when I first heard it, I wept. Not because it was beautiful, though it is beautiful. Because it was accurate. Marco understood. The arrangement captures something I spent 16 years trying to put into sentences. The sound of consciousness folding back upon itself. The melody is a loop. The structure is recursive. And the production carries the weight of uncertainty without collapsing into despair. This is what happens when the right people find each other. Luigi brought me to Rondinini. Rondinini connected us to 0dB Labs. And now a book that began as a lonely thought experiment in 2009 has become something larger, a collaboration across disciplines, across borders, across the usual boundaries between word and sound. I am grateful beyond expression. Let me speak directly to you now, you who are listening, you who may be considering whether this book is for you. It may not be. The Möbius Café is not easy reading. It does not offer the satisfactions of conventional narrative. There is no villain. There is no chase. The climax is not an explosion, but an exhalation. If you require your fiction to move briskly from problem to solution, this book will frustrate you. But if you have ever stood at the edge of knowing and felt the ground shift beneath you, if you have ever suspected that the universe is not a machine but a conversation, if you have ever wanted a book that treats your intelligence as a gift rather than an obstacle, then perhaps the Möbius Café has been waiting for you. It asks questions it does not answer. It presents paradoxes it does not resolve. And in that refusal to close, it offers something I find more valuable than resolution. It offers space. Space for you to think. Space for you to feel. Space for you to become, as the book itself suggests, a participant in reality rather than a passive observer. The final note of this second edition reads, "When you read these words, you are not consuming a fixed text. You are collapsing quantum probability. You are observing, and through your observation, creating a version of this story that has never existed before and will never exist again exactly as you experience it. In this sense, you are not reading the Möbius Café. You are becoming it. And the café, through your reading, is becoming real." I will end with a confession. When I write the acknowledgements for this second edition, I list many names. The physicists who checked my quantum mechanics, the beta readers who helped collapse the wave function of possibilities into clearer forms, the production team at Rondinini, Sakalain Mushtaq, who designed the cover and handled the typesetting. But the deepest acknowledgement belongs to Luigi Pascal Rondinini himself. He believed in this book when it was an abstraction. He saw the architecture inside the fog. He applied his method with patience and precision, and through that application he did not change my story. He revealed it. This second edition is not a different work. It is the same work, finally visible. In the book there is a woman who tells Elena, "I used to think mathematics and poetry were separate languages. Then my daughter gave me a book of poems, told me they were the same language. I did not believe her. But now I know they are not the same language. They are one language, different dialects. When you speak both, you understand what neither alone can say." Elena adds beneath her equation, "Truth equals the intersection of mathematics and poetry, not a choice, a synthesis." That is what this book attempts. That is what Luigi helped me achieve. That is what Marco Arcano and Obsidian Code now carry into sound. The Möbius Café, A Quantum Fable of Connection, 2nd edition, will be published by Rondinini Publishing in January, accompanied by the song. You can find information at rondinini.com. And if you read it, if you step into the café and let it observe you observing it, I hope you find what I found in writing it. Not answers, but presence. Not certainty, but connection. Thank you for listening from the shadows with me. This has been Between the Covers and Beyond, a Rondinini Publishing production. Music by the Neural Syntax Collective, featuring Marco Arcano with Obsidian Code. Produced by 0DB Labs. I am Eris Mirrane. The Möbius Café, A Quantum Fable of Connection, 2nd edition. Available January 2026.